Has the emergence of Kamala Harris changed that for those brothers?
No.
Talking about escalating state power, talking about mass media campaigns, there is considerable work being undertaken right now to change the way you perceive Kamala Harris. People don't want you to remember the Kamala Harris of just a couple of weeks ago. Ineptitude, odd remarks about the border, peculiar habits, an extraordinary record while in office. You know, you can criticize people's quirks, I guess, but what's more significant is how have they governed when in positions of power previously. And we showed you, didn't we, and a lot of you will have seen elsewhere, the exchange between her and Tulsi Gabbard, where challenged on her record, she don't come out smelling her roses because of a somewhat punitive attitude that is, when it comes to prison regulation, persecution of minorities, keeping people in for their full sentences, keeping people in jail for cannabis offences, some all extraordinary stuff. But now the media's gone into overdrive to repackage Kamala Harris. And of course, it seems that leaning into the subject of race is significant. And I'll let you know again, for what it's worth, my personal perspective, I believe in individual freedom. I believe in kindness. I don't believe in judging people because of their race or their religion or their identity. I believe that we should try to find within ourselves the ability to connect with grace and live in gratitude. And that will take care of many of the issues that cause conflict and conflagration and disruption. And for me, it seems like if you can find a way to connect with those principles, much of the world will be healed. And that is exciting to me because it empowers us as individuals and stops us looking towards an interventionist state or fearing all-powerful globalist influence. Here, though, is an MSNBC piece of propaganda that I don't think went the way they wanted it to go. It's 5 black men talking about Trump versus Kamala.
How many of you know a black man who has expressed to you that they're committed to voting for Donald Trump? Okay. For the brothers who have told you that or said that to you, has the emergence of Kamala Harris changed that for those brothers?
No.
What's amazing about that is that people can't be corralled and maneuvered on the basis of superficial information. This is a beautiful article by Seymour Hersh, the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, who just 10 years ago would have been regarded as a bulwark of the left. Here he is talking about the establishment's attempt, the Democratic Party establishment's attempt to usurp and replace Joe Biden once he'd fulfilled his function and replace him with Kamala Harris without ever acknowledging that what had taken place really is a coup. Now, the reason this fascinates me is because a couple of weeks ago, when no lesser voice than Alex Jones said, it's the Obamas are buying this, they're going to do a coup. I'm like, oh, come on, Alex, sort it out. You know, I don't believe that Barack Obama is that powerful. I figure it's just because he's an identifiable and recognizable face. People say, no, he's the real power. He's the puppet behind Biden. But there is now significant evidence to suggest that the higher-ups in the Democratic Party have orchestrated a somewhat undemocratic, ironically, coup to ensure that their person was put in position, as well as the slightly risible spectacle of that Obama phone call. We'll get into that in a second. Let's have a look at this write-in from Seymour Hersh on his Substack. At that point, according to Emily Goodin, a Daily Mail reporter who was in the travelling press pool, the president was deathly pale and Air Force One flew at maximum speed to Delaware, where the president has a weekend retreat at Rehoboth Beach. The press pool was told that Biden had COVID. Nothing more was said on Air Force One. After Biden's return to Delaware, the White House told the public that Biden had contracted a COVID infection and would be in isolation. He was said to have upper respiratory symptoms, a runny nose, a cough, and was fatigued. That was the last straw for a core group of congressional leaders, government officials, and some senior Biden funders who were withholding huge amounts of committed contributions. There was pressure on donors to come across on their pending commitments, the official told me. It was understood that Biden had a physical problem in Las Vegas, and the family was saying no to continued pressure from donors and senior Democrats in Congress to withdraw from the presidential campaign. Initially, the president could not be reached. What I like about this is that Seymour Hersh is a former New York Times journalist. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. This is not a hysterical harpy from the fringes of the online spaces. I suppose I shouldn't care anymore about the critiques and condemnations that they throw at online pundits. This person is racist. This person's a conspiracy theorist. This person is a predator. Indeed, I've had all of those charges thrown at me at various points. What's interesting here is Seymour Hersh is like, we've had him on the show. It's like an old school journalist in a cardigan. He's like a curmudgeon. You know, like this guy is, I would assume, a classic liberal. And he is pointing out that the strings of that power system are being pulled ulteriorly from behind the scenes. By Saturday, July 20, former President Barack Obama was deeply involved, and there was talk that he would place a call to Biden. It was not clear whether Biden had been examined or just what happened to him in Vegas. Hey, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. The big three, the officials said, referring to former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senate Majority Leader Charles or Chuck Schumer, and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, continued to be directly involved. On Sunday morning, the official told me, with the approval of Pelosi and Schumer, Obama called Biden after breakfast and said, here's the deal. We have Kamala's approval to invoke the 25th Amendment. The amendment provides that when the president is determined by the vice president and others to be unfit to carry out the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall assume those duties. We can't continue to bring you this beautiful content without the support of our partners. Field of Greens could be the key to a good health future for you. It's not like any other green product out there where it's just watered down extracts. With Field of Greens, you get an organic superfood, whole fruits and vegetables selected by legit doctors that care about health to support your bodily functions, whether that's heart, liver, kidneys, your metabolism, or most importantly, in my view, the immune system. Field of Greens is backed by a better health promise. You will notice your health improve, your vitality, your nails, your hair, your shimmering visage improve before your very eyes, or they're going to give you your money back. Get started by getting 15% off and free shipping by using my code. If you use my code BRAND when you visit brickhouserussell.com, 2 S's, 2 L's, and use the promo code BRAND, you too could be fighting against time. You too could be preventing entropy and decay. You too could have glimmering organic systems shimmering with Brickhouse goodness by using Field of Greens. So use the promo code BRAND at brickhouserussell.com for 15% off and free shipping. Let's get back to the content. Do you remember how ardently it was claimed that Biden was as sharp as a tack? Do you remember Morning Joe saying, I've never known him so sharp. I mean, he's incredible, actually. He's brilliant. I just played chess with him the other day. I mean, he had a few of the chess pieces along the way, and Jill Biden had to remove some of them from various orifices. Like they were claiming up until very recently that he was entirely lucid. Well, now a comparable campaign of pivoting, reversal, and obfuscation is taking place when it comes to Kamala Harris. We're being invited to believe that this is a brilliant legal mind, that this is a reliable political figure. And indeed, the problem, the defining problem, if you ask me, is that legacy media is no longer able to function as a gatekeeper. They can no longer just put her on the front of New York Magazine and say, isn't she fantastic? And everyone will go along with it. Or put out some rather cloying propaganda material and everyone accept it. This is the age of immediate response, immediate parody. Lord alone knows there are many negative things about social media and online spaces. But the obvious advantage is it offers the ability to immediately repudiate and refute untrue information. That is why the categories of misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation have been created, not to protect you, but to control you. Look at this rather amusing moment where a simple social media user is able to point out that Kamala Harris don't have enough supporters to fill a Zoom screen.
Okay, so we're watching this Kamala Harris live. And I don't know if anybody else noticed, but all these people on Zoom. So this lady, it's also this lady. And this lady, it's also this lady. Oh wait, and this lady, it's also this lady. So who are these people?
And why would we even care? And why should we be invited to care that other oligarchical servants of the establishment endorse the latest conduit of their will, Kamala Harris? But nevertheless, here is a further piece of evidence of the power of new media. They know in the TikTok age, while they simultaneously attempt to ban and discredit TikTok, that they need to create artifacts of propaganda that appeal to a TikTok audience. And the Obama's call to President Harris-elect is precisely such an artifact. It's designed to be memeable, repeatable, reshareable. It's extraordinary to watch them grapple with the twin challenges of marshalling a legacy media to continue to amplify their message, while acknowledging there are new Gen Z and various other inaccessible audiences and potential voters that they have to find ways of reaching. It's interesting to see how this battle plays out. What will win? Legacy media endorsement or new independent media? It's interesting. How effective, for example, is a piece of propaganda like this?
Kamala!
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi, you're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh my goodness. Michelle, Brock, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
Looks like it. Not since full-fledged COVID has the propaganda war been so fascinating and exciting. What we will witness now is an attempt to create a 360 reality, impenetrable, surrounded with propagandist pieces like this one, casual, off-camera, candid moments. It's just a call from the Obamas. Oh, wow, we're really being let into their personal reality. But the problem is we have the ability for instant repudiation, instant analysis, whether or not it was one of Seymour Hersh's stories. In fact, it's the Nord Stream pipeline, which almost instantaneously you go, I don't think Russia would have blown that up. Feels like it might have been a kind of black ops deal, no, to blow up that pipeline, given that resources seems to be a significant driver of this conflict. Or various other stories during the pandemic period. Efficacy of the jabs, efficacy of the lockdowns, excess death figures, adverse events. The problem is we have the means for immediate communication. This is an establishment versus anti-establishment election once more. I know there are many pundits and voices that will say, no, both parties and both candidates, Trump included, are ultimately owned by the same forces. And if that's your opinion, let me know in the comments and the chat. One thing we will definitely see for sure now is a curious unfolding narrative as independent media voices on one side, legacy media voices on the other side, race to have their narrative heard. The real question is there any freedom on the other side for any of us, regardless of the outcome? Is a question that I like to live in. That's just what I think, though. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Remember, like, subscribe. It's really important and helpful to us that you do that because you are the very engine of our entire endeavor. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.